Basically, if you're wondering why there's no visuals in this video, then that's because most of my time making videos is spent on making visuals. So I thought if I remove visuals out of the equation, then I can make a lot more videos which are a lot longer. That's basically why there's no visuals in this video. Anyway, on to the video. Hello, today's topic is the Higgs boson. The Higgs boson is a lot more advanced than my usual topics, and you'll have to delve into topics such as the quantum field theory and the standard model. That's why this video will be a bit more complicated than my usual videos, but I've tried my best to simplify it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Why do we even need the Higgs boson if it's so complicated? Well, it all started with the electroweak force. If you saw my fundamental forces videos, then you know the electroweak forces. It's a combination of electromagnetism and a weak force. But when it was first unified in the 1970s, there was a massive problem with it. To understand this problem, we need to understand something about forces in quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, every force has a force carrying particle. What does that mean? Well, in quantum field theory as well as in the standard model, forces are transmitted by certain force carrying particles. These particles are literal manifestations of the forces they carry. That was a lot of information in one sentence, so let's break it down. Firstly, forces are transmitted by particles. What does that mean? Well, it means that if you have a force, for example, electromagnetism, then that force gets transmitted through space by particles, in this case photons. These particles carry a certain amount of force in them. In the case of photons, it depends on the frequencies. In general, force-carrying particles are little bundles of force, and they behave as if they're not particles. They don't behave like particles until we observe them, but that's not today's topic. Now picture a light wave with its peaks and its troughs. The distance between each peak and trough is its wavelength. Now imagine that this light wave is moving at the speed of light. That, according to textbook physics, is how light moves. That's a textbook definition of a light wave. But let's extend this picture into quantum mechanics. In quantum mechanics, the picture is slightly different. Imagine that every set of peaks and troughs in that light wave is a photon. And these photons move forward at the speed of light. In reality, nothing has changed. Why be skeptical of that, since a wave clearly just turned into a photon? Those aren't the same thing. But they are. You are perceiving it as a chain of photons, but in reality, the photons are like placeholders for the wave. The wave is still there, guiding the photons. The photons are still behaving as a light wave, you just don't see it. And the second you observe it, the photons turn back into particle-like photons. That may seem very confusing as it is, but that's just how quantum mechanics works. You get all of that? Good. Now it's time to understand the problem with the electroweak force. The weak force has two force-carrying particles, the W and Z particles. Both these particles can be detected and their mass can be measured to be 200 times that of an electron. That's all good, but the electroweak force also has electromagnetism. That's where the problem is. Because electromagnetism's force-carrying particle is the photon, which is massless. In case you don't understand the problem yet, all the particles of the force have to be described by the same equations because they're literal manifestations of the force itself, like I said before. How can you describe both a massless particle and a particle with 200 times the mass of a proton in the same equation? That's the problem with the electroweak force. How do you solve this problem? The answer lies with the Higgs field and the Higgs boson. To give mass to the W and Z particles, there's a Higgs field throughout the universe. This field interacts with particles to give them mass. The Higgs boson is like the force-carrying particle for the Higgs, if you will. Its interactions with the W and Z particles give them their mass. How exactly does the field give mass to those particles? I mean, how is that possible? The answer is that whenever a W or Z particle interacts with the Higgs boson, it generates that mass. Just like how gravity interacts with a particle to pull it closer to another particle by generating force, The Higgs boson does the same with mass. This raises an insightful question. How can the Higgs boson generate mass if mass can't be created or destroyed? To answer this, we need to realize that the Higgs field is not a force field, but an energy field. In the entire video, I've been describing it like it's one of the fundamental forces, but it's not a force. It's a field of energy that spreads throughout the universe. And that's how it gives mass to particles. Every time it interacts, the particles gain energy and mass. And we know energy can be converted to mass because of E equal to mc square, and that energy and mass are equivalent. And that's how the W and Z particles gain mass. That's gonna be it for this video. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.